Do you think that ideally there would be no person managing the sand in the middle, or do you think it's good that there is always a guy in the middle managing the sand?
For Sands of Time?
Yeah.
I feel like it's the smartest strategy to have somebody in the middle managing the sand all the time.
It's kind of the way of like allowing people to relax a little bit more.
And like that person still does get quite a lot of coins. Like it's not like they don't get any coins. And obviously they are split anyway. But like I mean, they collect the coins all around.
Yeah, someone's got to do that too.
Stuff, but
like even if there's no one at the beginning, like someone's got to end up doing that eventually.
Yeah.
Come on, kitty. Come on.
You don't want to pick my brain on the coin splitting on certain games. It makes no sense. They just do it because they're like, you're going to promote teamwork. It doesn't promote teamwork. It does the opposite. It does the exact opposite. And all it does is muddy the individual leaderboards. And it makes games like Sands of Time pointless for it doesn't like have a skill in the it's like people who are like so I'm very good at Sands of Time, but it doesn't reflect on my individual score like almost at all because it's completely split. So like it's like such a minimal distance. It's so ridiculous. And like it's even though it sometimes is a team game, it's so individual based your coin. And it's the reason why the same people get, a large amount of coins every time. And it's the same thing with bingo. Like there's a reason you get the most, you and Quig and stuff get the most completions in bingo. Like it's not obviously your team is a big part, but it would if it was completely up to the team, then it wouldn't be the same people consistently getting the top bingos.
Fair. I do my best to not think about the individual score. It does pop into my mind a lot, and it does make me think a little bit more.
It doesn't really matter, but in terms of like for me, I play the event because I'm competitive. I wouldn't play the event if it was just for fun. Like if I thought hey I don't feel competitive in this, I just wouldn't play. Like I'm not
fair.
I just don't I don't know. I don't like just strictly for fun things in terms of that. So it's like I know the average player isn't like that, but I know there's quite a few players who probably wouldn't necessarily play if it was just I feel like maybe you're not in this boat, but I know you're super competitive. So I feel like you kind of are in that you probably would enjoy it much less if you didn't feel super competitive.
Yeah, no, my favorite MCCs have been the ones where not necessarily like we're like doing the best or anything like that, but it's where we're all trying the best because I feel like that's when it makes the best content too.
Yeah, exactly.
But I also am not gonna like yeah, like I want to be going up against good players too, but I'm also just like not trying to be like I have to win or anything like that.
Oh, exactly.
I do get upset when I lose.
The same way. Yeah, exactly. And I feel the same way. Like in my case, like I don't like, and I've obviously I feel like I'm a fairly good sport, but I know I've had moments where I don't like things that are anti-competitive happening, which is why in the past I've gone upset at some things. But like in MCC generally, like I feel like when I go into MCC, I have no expectations for my team, and I have all expectations for myself. And when I go in, I really want to win as a team. I 100% would prefer a team win over an individual win.
Yeah.
But if my team loses and I do bad, I'm gonna be upset. And so it's like I think the individual boards is a really good way to like kind of judge yourself, and like you always want to do better, and you always want to push yourself to like higher limits and stuff. And then if it's just inaccurate, then it's more annoying. I feel like that's something they probably should do.
Fair. I'm like I said, I do my best just to not think about it. I'm not like the number one player or anything like that. So like I'm most likely never gonna be number one, and I'm okay with that because I know my skill level. I'm gonna kill this cat.
You could be.
I
feel like you could get a number one performance, but I feel like it would just. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. I think probably with the current individual leaderboards, you wouldn't. But I feel like if they fixed it so it was more accurate of performance, like overall, I feel like they should just run an analysis, like and go, what truly are the games that like as an example, I feel like Build Mart is one of those things where it probably should be split, because it is like almost completely like there's builds that are just totally. Like it's almost completely, and you're not doing much. But like I feel like Sands of Times is a game where there's such a difference between people who do well and do good and do bad. And like if your teammate dies or something, or that's not your fault. Like there was one time when I died, and I was the difference between Techno placing 7th and 2nd, and like that sucks. Like, that shouldn't be the case. Like I made a mistake, and Techno paid for it by 5 leaderboard spaces. Like and obviously. I still would have. My place wasn't hurt that much. Like I mean, it was still hurt, but like it wasn't hurt that much.
But I like that. Okay, so I'm against you on this. I want Sands of Time to be shared just because I feel bad if, like you said, like the middle person gets a lot of coins, but they're not running off, but they're being like an important thing. I'd feel bad if I got like I got like 2,000 more coins than Nikki this MCC, and she was doing the middle part. I don't think that her getting 400 coins shows how good she did during that. I think she
Yeah.
deserves more than that.
Yeah, I think that vaults should be split. That's what my opinion is. I think that it should be individual. Nothing should be split but the vaults, and
Fair.
the vaults are split amongst the team. It's split amongst the team, and I think that would be a good way to give incentive to try and find the vaults, and then also incentive for the the whole team that if you find a vault that it's shared between the teams. I feel like the only reason it's not is because because of the person in the middle, and it's like yes. That obviously that person will maybe get slightly less coins than their performance shows, but I feel like there's that person in almost every game. There's the person who has less armor in survival games. There's the person who has less armor in Sky Battle. Like, are you telling me that when you have the iron block at spawn that Nikki's grabbing it and putting on full iron armor? Like, no, you're grabbing it and you're putting on full iron armor, and she's suffering because of that. She's probably dying more and having a higher death rate. There's the person who bridges in Sky Battle. There's the person who places the wool in battle blocks that doesn't get the kills. There's just every game has a person like that. It's just that in Sands of Times, for some reason, it warrants it being split because that person gets less. But I feel like that person is also willing to take that place and go, hey, I understand that usually it's the person that places lower anyway. Because that's one of the reasons they're taking that spot is because they know that they're not going to necessarily do as well elsewhere, and that person generally doesn't care as much about their placements as somebody who's going to kill Sands of Time and get 2,000 coins. Will care more about their placement and go, hey, I kicked ass in this game. I should be getting more than that. And I feel like the three people that are it's kind of like it's a balance. Like you're either taking away, you're either giving coins to the lowest person because they deserve more, or you're taking away coins from three different people. So it's like you're punishing three people rather than helping one person in order to punish three people rather than the other way around. And I feel like in every single game, it's like that. But at Sand of Times, it's just because it's more obvious. Like sometimes it's more obvious. Oh, there's a sand person. It's just more obvious.
Yeah.
That's why it's like split like that. I feel like Bingo's more like Bingo. I feel like Bingo has way more of an excuse than Sands of Time. Because it is, you could just toss somebody the materials and they just craft it. Like that's happened to me many times. And sometimes it's not like that. You don't just toss somebody the gold. Like if they have the gold, it's because they went and collected it themselves. You can't just give somebody gold. And if you split the vaults, then there's absolutely no way to just give somebody gold. So I feel like it's just completely. To me, it just doesn't make any sense. I don't. That's the biggest mistake MCC made in terms of like point balancing, I guess. And to be fair, it doesn't really matter that much, but it matters to me.
Yeah. No, I get that. Like,
I mean, it just matters to me in my personal goals. And like, I feel like anybody that's competitive. Like, I want to do as best as I can. And if I feel like, I did really good this tournament, but my individual score is like much lower than it should be because I popped off in this game, and that was instead of helping, my own personal goal, it got split out, and no one else really cares, but I care.
Yeah. I don't think there's a winning scenario. Why are you guys back here? I don't think there's a winning scenario, though. Because, like you said, you're one of the few people that, me and you both, are very competitive. But there's a lot of people in the event that are there just for fun. And I think if we took away the coins from them, from the teamwork stuff, it would just suck and make less people enjoy it. Because, like, as a viewer, you want to see your players do good, and if you see them being sad about their personal score because they were doing things, like you said, like the bridging, that kind of stuff, and they don't get points for that, it kind of sucks, right? Like, it's just, there's no absolute winning in this scenario, which is sad,
yeah,
but
then it's like you might as well just split every game then, because I feel like I said, I think in every game there's that aspect. I just feel like when you're talking about appeasing a group of people, in this case, like the competitive players are the ones who care about their leaderboard place. Like, honestly, do you really think that Nikki cares that much about where she places?
No.
From what I know and what I've heard, I don't think she gives a rat's ass about where she places. She's completely there for fun, and that's what she wants to do, and she has a blast. And if her team wins, that's amazing, and if her team loses, then she's there. And I feel like the most people that place lower kind of have that same mindset. They would like to improve and they would like to get better and they'd like to place higher, but they don't necessarily care. And so, giving them pity coins and splitting pity coins for lack of a better word, doesn't really do much to appease them. Whereas taking away coins from players that are competitive, that do care about that, I feel like is just like, it has just a net negative effect on it, where like the individual leaderboards aren't as accurate, the competitive players feel more shafted, and then the players that aren't as competitive are still going to place poorly, because guess what, it's just split in that game. So even if if their team does slightly better, they may get like slightly more overall coins, but other teams, it has such a low point differential that other teams are not going to, like, it's not going to help their individual score. They're just going to place just as low as they would. So all it is it's just shifting coins from the players who are outperforming on Sands of Times to the lower players, and it's just like, doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But that's just a theory.
Oh, reference to the video you were on. You collabed with him. I don't know. Like I said, like, you're making solid points, and I agree with you for the majority of it. But I'm still in the mindset where I want to make sure everyone around me is having a good time, rather than just me and my viewers. So I'd rather it be split
completely.
Like, I'm not saying that you're against that, but just for the individual points, I'd rather more people be happy than just the me and the competitive, like, top 10 people on the leaderboard.
Yeah, and that's why I think like it's interesting. Where I feel like there's a best of both worlds. Like it's not that, like, I feel like it doesn't have to be a choice between, do we want to make the competitive players happy or the casual player happy. It's like, I feel like that's a choice that they've made by making it split. I feel like that's not a choice you have to make. I feel like they can do something, like they could just add more coins in the middle, and then that person would get more coins. If they really just want to make sure that person gets more coins, they could just give that person more coins, or they could have something happen like that. I feel like it's, instead of reducing the effort of, like, now, even though that person's role is important, I feel like, if I'm going out and I'm doing lava parkour, that's a little harder than keeping track of the sand.
Yeah.
And that's something where obviously that may not be something everyone wants to hear, but it just is. It just 100% is. And that's something where I feel like the coin, it doesn't have to be a choice between appeasing the competitive players or appeasing the for fun players. I feel like it should just be, if you're going to have an individual leaderboard, it should just be accurate to an individual player's performance. That's just how it should work. And if people are doing worse and that makes them upset, then do better. I mean, I mean, honestly, that's just how it would be. If it's making them upset that they're doing bad, then they're probably not just playing for fun. They're probably playing to be competitive. It's like, and I think most people that perform worse just don't care. And I think MCC probably thinks they care a little more than they do. And they're not going to not play because, they got, 200 coins less in Sands of Time because they were doing sand. But they may try and improve at Sands of Time. Therefore, they're not going to be the Sandkeeper on their next team. I just think it's something where, I don't know. I think it's just like, if they want to have an individual, like, they might as well just get rid of the individual board then. If that's their viewpoint, that, well, we don't want people to feel bad about how they place if they're playing for fun, then just remove the individual board and don't have it. And then it'll be completely fun. It's not gonna be competitive because no one's gonna, I guess people will keep track of it, but like, if you're gonna display an individual board and it's gonna have any validity at all, then make it accurate. Like, otherwise there's no point in, having somebody at the top of an individual leaderboard when it's not representing who individually performed the best in the event. And that's what I view, because I feel like, even though, like as an example, like, obviously I feel like because I'm playing competitively and I know I'm playing to do like the best, then I feel like for me, if, like, let's say Fruit places ahead of me, or let's say even just Techno, like, obviously me and Techno have like a bit of a rivalry, like Techno places ahead of me, right? And I'm just like, oh, okay, well, Techno places ahead of me, and that's like ammunition for, Techno's better than Dream, or like I place ahead of Techno, Dream's better than Techno. But if the leaderboard's inaccurate, then there's no point in having a conversation at all. And it's fun to have that conversation, like, who performed the best this event,
Yeah.
Fruit carried, or Fruit did amazing, or whatever, like, versus not necessarily knowing. And I feel like when not every game is balanced in that way.